Late at night on a quiet street, a young officer spotted a man in a worn jacket sitting in a parked car. His eyes narrowed, suspicion rising. To him, the stranger looked out of place, maybe even dangerous. Without a second thought, he marched over, flashlight glaring through the window. "What are you doing here?" he barked, his voice sharp with authority. The man inside raised his head slowly, calm but unbothered, as if he'd seen this scene play out many times before. Something about his steady gaze didn't match the nervous profile the officer had already painted in his mind. The audience watching this moment wouldn't expect it, but the man sitting there wasn't just anyone. He was someone the officer should never have underestimated. The officer demanded ID, pounding the side of the car with impatience. He lectured about loitering, trespassing, even threatened arrest. The man, still calm, handed over a simple driver's license. Nothing about it gave away his real identity. The cop, puffed up with arrogance, thought he had cornered someone powerless. But the quiet observer inside the car was silently measuring every word, every move. He wasn't just being harassed, he was taking mental notes. Each question, each threat, was being carefully stored for the moment of truth. The man's stillness wasn't fear, it was strategy. The tension rose when the officer, feeling ignored, ordered him out of the vehicle. The man complied slowly, deliberately, his eyes never breaking contact. By now, neighbors peeked from their curtains, curious about the commotion. The officer strutted with confidence, certain he was in control, warning the stranger about resisting. But something felt off. The man's stance wasn't defensive, it was steady, like someone who'd been trained for far higher stakes. The officer didn't realize it yet, but the balance of power was shifting, and every second brought him closer to a shocking revelation. When the officer reached for his handcuffs, the man finally spoke. His voice was low, measured, carrying a weight that silenced the street. "You might want to think carefully before you finish this," he said. The officer scoffed, thinking it was a bluff. But then, with a quiet flick of his hand, the man revealed a badge from beneath his jacket. Not just any badge, the unmistakable emblem of the FBI. For a moment, the air froze. The officer's smirk vanished, replaced with disbelief. He had gone from feeling like the hunter to realizing he had just cornered a lion. Shock washed over the officer as the weight of his mistake sank in. He stammered, trying to explain himself, fumbling with excuses about safety and protocol. But the FBI agent's eyes didn't waver. This wasn't about ego, it was about accountability. The agent reminded him, firmly yet calmly, that respect and judgment matter more than a uniform. The officer's arrogance crumbled, replaced with shame. Every neighbor watching could see the tables had turned. The so-called suspect had just schooled the enforcer of the law without raising his voice. The agent didn't escalate, didn't boast, didn't humiliate. Instead, he leaned in and reminded the officer that power should protect, not intimidate. His words cut deeper than any punishment. It wasn't just a lesson for the young officer, it was a lesson for everyone listening. Respect doesn't come from a badge or authority, it comes from character, from the way one treats people when they think no one is watching. And tonight, the officer realized he had been given a rare second chance. As the agent walked away, calm and composed, the officer stood frozen in silence, his earlier confidence gone. The neighbors murmured, some shaking their heads, others nodding in approval at the quiet justice that had just unfolded. The man had arrived as a target of suspicion but left as a teacher of humility. It wasn't just a story of an officer overstepping his bounds, it was a story of integrity shining brighter than arrogance. And that unforgettable moment ensured the officer would never look at a simple encounter the same way.